Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
Now, today we're going to talk about this meeting in the Vatican, the meeting of the bishops, and it's about the Amazon jungle.
That's right, yes. A very peculiar thing to have a meeting about the Amazon jungle and bringing the gospel to the people in the jungle, the people living in cultures living there, kind of cultures that are isolated and under a bit of pressure with ones cutting down trees, particularly in Brazil. That's the country that locked up our president of the Olympic Council and somebody else, and it's a country that's as corrupt as you could ever come across in civilized society. But in any event, in the Vatican, about the Amazon jungle, it's a very peculiar subject to be talking about, because there's a move afoot to have married priests in the region, because the people in the jungle don't like the idea of celibate priests.
You know what?
This priests that are celibate, that's not married in
Yeah.
other words. So this kind of stuff. So it's a very dangerous meeting of all these bishops, and then there's journalists there that ask questions, and the answers are very vague. For example, there was a ceremony in the Vatican Gardens where I think the retired Pope Benedict, when he was Pope, and I presume he does it now too, often spent time in the garden. Other popes spent time in solitude because it's a very restful place, much like the parish gardens in Oldcastle in County Meath, but a very reflective place. But anyway, they had this ceremony with the jungle people from the jungle, and dressed in funny looking costumes and dancing about and bowing down, and it looked like two kind of a pregnant woman or something, and something else. I think it was a fertility god, kind of a pagan thing. And Pope was there, Pope Francis and all the rest, and it looked like kind of a cod, even as you saw it. Mm-hmm. And when journalists asked what was this represented, what did this, because some had said it might have been the Blessed Virgin, and so nobody, and the spokespeople that's up on this panel give kind of ambiguous answers, and are not answering questions that some journalists are asking, because it looks like they don't know what they're at. There's also ones representing some part of the jungle that's able to speak English and that, and they want our culture to be respected according to one. I want our culture to be respected. In other words, that they can dance about and fertility gods and all the rest of it. So, in the meantime, there's a report that the Protestant evangelists or what have you is part none of this. They're going in there and preaching and getting converts, and they're not listening to any other angle about like what they're at the Vatican. Now, from the various programs that I look at, which is particularly in the EWTN, the Catholic TV channel that's available in this country, and a marvellous channel it is, because you get the background to these things and spokespeople. And from the sound of it, and cardinals have spoken against it, that it's a form of heresy what they're at. And funny enough, even to me, it doesn't make sense. If they want to have missioners in the jungle, well, go ahead and do it, but stop this nonsense that they're at. You see, it's this Vatican now, led by Pope Francis, who seems to sort of go in the prevailing culture that is very doubtful that's in the world. This business about the climate and this, that, and the other. So they're at this racket, and quite frankly, there's people that are not in favour of what they seem to be proposed and what they're doing. It looks to me, unless the Pope has lost the plot altogether, that he'd want to sort of, you go in there to convert people. I mean, if for example, they come to this country when St. Patrick come, if they sort of said, well, we better respect the culture, they converted the people. And so the Catholic and Christianity was formed in this country. And but there was none of this business of people dancing around the druids and all that and doing some kind of black magic. And the word black magic is appropriate. The Catholic faith is not based on that sort of old fraud. But they're still trying to bring it back. There's now criticism of the Puka festival or something that's going to occur at Halloween and Mead and Louth, I think. And there's a lot of criticism about that because it's celebrating the pagan rites in this. So this secular agenda that we have in this country are hell-bent, and by the way it's supported by the tourist board in this country, hell-bent on trying to sort of go back to this old nonsense about respecting cultures. You respect kind of things that are worth respecting, but not that kind of stuff. So the Amazon jungle is causing problems, and instead of dealing with the issues, they seem to be going out of their way to say that there's a US kind of, how would I call it, attack on them or something, or this sort of thing, which is far from the truth. You've got concerned Catholics that expect the faith to be passed on in the way it was passed on to them, and not sort of watered down for something else. And so the Amazon jungle is causing problems, and I think the word jungle is appropriate. I think they're the frog marched themselves into a jungle. The Christian Jobs Acting Party, you say, they get in with that jungle and in their minds and stop trying to change the Catholic faith to suit some people that's in the jungle. So by all means help them to change their habits and appreciate the spiritual life that's involved with being practicing the Catholic faith, for example. Give them the hope for that, not this business of dancing around like witches. This type of thing, you know, forget about that. So they look to me to be astray, and once you start watering down the message, this is what it winds up in.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much, Ottawa.